Hello YouTube, welcome to a tier list. I decided to do a tier list because I've never done one before and because my YouTube channel is around travel. I thought I'd do one around Asia. Now, I'm going to do a multiple tier list actually, but my first tier list I'm going to do is English friendly countries in the Asia region. I'm including Australia and New Zealand in that. But let's get to it. These are countries I've actually been to, so I haven't been to Pakistan, Mongolia, Philippines, so a few countries I haven't been to, as well as a lot of Middle Eastern ones, count those. But let's start off. So Australia, we all know Australia, English speaking. You can speak a bit of Bogan like myself, but generally English speaking. Cambodia. Now, Cambodia is actually very friendly for English speaking. Now, for S ranks, I'm gonna give it to countries that do have English as their main spoken language. But Cambodia is quite friendly actually. A lot of them use US dollars. Actually, if you didn't know, they accept US dollars as well as, I don't know what the Cambodian local currency is, but they're really accustomed to tourists, and generally it's pretty friendly. So I'm actually going to give them an A because generally a lot of the locals do know how to speak English. China. It's either a C or D. I'm going to say D. I'm Chinese. I can speak a bit of Mandarin, but not that much. In the major cities, you'll get by. I think China has industrialized. I'll give it a C actually. And they really opened up to tourists. But I think with the recent, I'm thinking about if you want to go beyond Shanghai and Beijing, it's going to be a bit of a struggle. So I'm going to put China as a C. And likewise, I'm going to give Taiwan a C as well. I feel like as a tourist, you will struggle a bit in Taiwan. Not as much. Actually, if I have to compare China and Taiwan, I have to rearrange it. I have to put it like that. I can't put China and Taiwan at the same level. Taiwan is definitely more English friendly, but it is also not very English friendly. So I think you can get by, but I feel like you will struggle as well. So I'm gonna have to put that down to C. So because my Mandarin was really shit, so I couldn't use English for some of my taxi rides and stuff when I was in Taiwan. So I had to use my broken Mandarin to get by. And I had to buy stuff, and I spent a whole day basically trying to get by, and it was a bit of a struggle, I remember. So, but I have to put it as C. Thailand. Now, if you're in Bangkok, it's not too bad. People are generally, I'm gonna put Thailand as a B. I think Thailand's actually not bad if you stick to the main cities. I think if you go outside of Bangkok, you will struggle. But Bangkok itself, I think, is decent. And we got around pretty easily, honestly. But I'm thinking maybe a C, actually, because now I'm looking at the list here. Okay, let's just go for the rest of the list and then we'll do a rearranging maybe. Okay, Vietnam. Vietnam's a B, in my opinion. I think you can definitely get by without... it's definitely really a big struggle. So we went to Hanoi. I basically covered even going to the countryside. Really big. Actually, the countryside was a big struggle. But there were one or two people who could speak a bit of English, and you really just need that one or two person to just kind of get you by. So Vietnam itself was actually not too bad, actually. You obviously can use private drivers and stuff, but it's still a bit of a struggle. I'm not saying that it's gonna be easy. But if you're in main cities like Hanoi, Ho Chi Minh, it's not too bad. Some of the cafes and stuff, they're kind of westernized now. But still a bit of a struggle, so I'm putting them in B. Hong Kong is an A. If you go into more suburban areas, they don't speak any English. I remember having to go to this Chinese medicine for a friend shop, and they didn't speak any English. I had to speak a bit of broken Mandarin, and I spoke Canto. So Cantonese is the main language. English speaking is very frequent, very big in the younger generation. So if you're in the more hippie areas or more modern, not modern, I don't even say modern, just areas where it's a main city area, you will get by with English. It's very easy. So in my opinion, top notch. India. Now I've only been to India once, and generally if you're sticking to the main cities, it's people speak English, to be honest. So it should be fine. That's Indonesia. So I missed Indonesia. Indonesia. Now, Bali is very friendly, but I've heard, because I haven't been to the other cities, that it can be a bit of a struggle. But I feel like compared to some of the other countries, you will get by. I'm putting Indonesia as a B tier list country to visit. So yeah. Man, Japan. So Japan's probably the second most country I've explored the most out of this list. It's definitely a struggle if you're going countryside, obviously. But a lot of people stick to Tokyo, Osaka, Kyoto maybe, a bit of Hiroshima, a bit of, just Hokkaido, all those cities. And generally you can get by without English. It is a bit of a struggle still, but I think Japan from 10 years ago versus now is a huge difference. I think Japan has opened up a lot. They make it so much more English friendly to visit. But it's Japan's a in between an A and B. I'm putting it here because Japan tries to cater to tourists now. I think South Korea is a B but below Japan. So when I visited South Korea recently, I was pleasantly surprised that English isn't unless you're in a university area, unless you're in an area where it's a bit modern, like more uni students and stuff like that, you will struggle, I think, slightly with South Korea. Not all the time. We had to pull out Google Translate a lot. It really depends if you want to do touristy stuff or you want to go to local restaurants and stuff. Obviously, local restaurants, you're going to struggle with most of these. I think the A tier list is where you go to a local restaurant and can just probably still understand you. B tier is getting to that point where they won't understand you, or they might have one person, luckily. C tier is like good luck with that, and D tier is like definitely good luck with that. So I think from this level, I think South Korea is behind Japan now, because there are areas where we realized that tourists just couldn't really access that really, like, unless you had Google Translator, it just wasn't easy to get by. So definitely putting it behind Japan now. Malaysia. Malaysia is very English speaking heavily. Like, English is very common. When I went to Malaysia in Kuala Lumpur, it was very, very easy to get by. I'm just unsure what it would be like outside that. So I'm gonna just put it as a B to be safe, but above Japan, because Kuala Lumpur is very. New Zealand, no doubt, S and S. So these are pretty easy. S. Singapore, if you didn't know already, people speak Mandarin, but English is their main language. It's the national language, so generally you can get by Singapore very easily with English. And New Zealand. So yeah, hopefully this tier list. Let's do a bit of rearranging, as I've mentioned. So Thailand, Vietnam, Indonesia. I'll put Indonesia ahead of Thailand and Vietnam. I'd put Vietnam behind Thailand. Taiwan at C. I'm tempted to put Vietnam into C, but it's kind of like hovering between. And I'd say Malaysia can hover between. Okay, so here we go. So that's a tier list for English-friendly traveling in Asia. Hopefully this video is interesting. You gotta hear me ramble a bit. What do you think? Do you think this list is correct? Let me know in the comments below. I'm gonna hit more travel tier lists. I'm gonna do a general one as well with all of Asia as well. But yeah, let me know what you think in the comments below. I'll see you next video.